partners. About 2 years ago, when we were all crawling out of the pandemic, I noticed that the conversations I was having with people about work were going in directions I hadn't experienced before. I was talking with an employee who was accused of taking over the work of her coworkers when the conversation quickly turned from a discussion about fraught relationship dynamics to a deeper, unresolved feeling of doing all of the right things to get ahead, but still being passed up for promotions. I spoke to another person who was dealing with a credit-stealing boss. We spent a few minutes answering the question, how can I protect my ideas, before she told me, I don't know if this career still defines me in the way it used to. The people I spoke with would start with ostensibly solvable problems, or at least ones that felt constrained to specific situations and relationships, but would quickly zoom out, revealing big picture problems and the deep psychological struggles they were having with their careers. Something much more was going on with people than bad bosses and salty coworkers, and I could sense it in the language they were using. They weren't just talking about their relationships at work, they were talking about their relationships with their entire careers. I was curious if other workplace experts were observing the same trend, so I checked in with Jackie Brassey, co-leader at the McKinsey Health Institute, researcher, and author. Jackie has her finger on the pulse of workplace changes, and not just the structural ones we're seeing, but the psychological drivers behind them. She told me that although she too has noticed that many people seem unhappy with their jobs and careers, she has sensed that they are struggling to figure out why. There's an ambivalence in the air, she told me. People are torn between their desire for predictability, which is pulling them toward more traditional career paths, and their desire to break free from tradition. Throughout our conversation, she used phrases like a big awakening and an increase in openness to new experiences to describe these trends. Interestingly, our conversation was almost entirely about people's emotions and psychological states. We barely touched upon the structural issues that were dominating conversations among experts at the time, like changes in hybrid work. The other trend I identified was that the language people were using to describe their issues with their jobs and careers sounded a lot like the language they were using to describe their issues with their close relationship partners. Language can be subtle, but it's rich and full of clues about what people are truly grappling with. Statements like, I used to have a better handle on what my boyfriend was thinking and feeling, but now he feels like a black box, indicate a growing sense of psychological distance. Even indirect statements like, my doctor won't make eye contact with me when I'm talking. Instead, he stares at my chart, can reveal a deep-seated distrust of medical personnel. I've shown in many contexts that the comments we make about our partners can be even better predictors of our future behaviors than what we say when asked what we plan to do. Language can give us a wealth of information about people's states of mind, if you know where to look. The use of language we usually associate with failing romantic relationships, expressions of distrust and ambivalence, for example, were common during my career conversations, which made me realize a deeper shift was going on. Therapy helps us manage all types of relationships. Why not apply it to your relationship with your career? Therapy can work wonders, especially when it's designed to help people not only understand what's driving their thoughts and behaviors, but also develop the tools they need to open the lines of communication between themselves and their potential new partners so they can assess fit before diving into something headfirst. Just as therapy can help people with their relationships with themselves and others, a therapeutic approach to careers can be transformational in helping you figure out why you're unhappy at work so that you can get closer to finding something more fulfilling. We're all in a relationship with our career, and just like in any relationship, we experience emotions that go up and down, and that are often the result of deep psychological issues we don't always understand. Job therapy was born out of the idea that unpacking these psychological issues is the first and arguably most important step in discovering happiness at work. It's a new approach to career navigation designed to help you learn new things about yourself and learn new strategies of communication, so you leave little of your future career happiness up to chance.